So welcome back to the Executive Simulator. I've got Declan Tyrrell here. Declan used to be a CFO in the financial services sector, and we've used Declan a lot on some of our training programs over the years with salespeople to really represent the buyer side of things. Declan, tell us a little bit about where you felt the biggest learning impact was happening on those programs.
Well, thank you, Eamon. For me, I've enjoyed working on the sales programs, giving real insight into what's going on from a sales methodology point of view. But where I really see a difference between the selling and the buying is in that interaction piece. And that's really where I've seen a lot of value added to people. It's not just them knowing what they're supposed to do, but then being able to apply that into my world, my context. That is where the issue is, and that's where I see the real value coming from people being able to get access to me.
So what you're talking about there is simulation. What you're talking about is practice. Giving the salespeople an opportunity to practice with a real customer is invaluable. That's what delivers the sort of impact, right?
Absolutely.
So how can we make that easy for salespeople to be able to do something like that? Clearly, we've been doing this in training programs when we bring salespeople together, and that's not always an easy thing to arrange and to organize. What if I had a big meeting or a big call next week with a customer whose success, is really important for me? What would I do in order to prepare for that? Well, that's where the Executive Simulator comes in, right?
Absolutely.
So what I could do with the Executive Simulator, having downloaded the app onto my phone, is to go right ahead and book a simulation. So let's book a simulation. And from there, well, I might want to decide what type of customer I'm going to meet. Perhaps it's a CFO, perhaps it's a CEO, perhaps it's a sales and marketing director. Let's go with CFO, right? Because I've got you here, Declan. So I'm going to choose a CFO on the app. And from there, what am I going to do next? Well, I've got to figure out what type of industry you represent. You could be in financial services, but equally you could be in comms, media and utilities, you could be in the public sector. So I'm going to choose which industry. I'm also going to have to choose what type of organization, right? So is it a small organization? Is it a mid-sized organization? Is it a large organization? Also, maybe I'm not doing this in English. Maybe my customers speak a different language, Spanish, French, Italian, whatever. So I'm going to choose which language. I'm also going to choose at what stage am I in the sales process. I could be in the discovery stage. I could be in qualification. I might even be close to delivering my value proposition. So I'm going to choose which stage. And finally, I'm going to choose a time, a date and a time which is convenient for me, in advance of that customer meeting. So I'm going to choose a time. And that's going to go right ahead and create an appointment for me. What happens on your side, Declan? How does that work? What happens after that?
Well, that goes out to our network of executives. Mm-hmm. And they'll come in, we'll be able to see who's available and who's most appropriate for that particular opportunity. And that's really key here. Then we'll set it up as any other meeting, as if it was a real vendor coming in. Now, whether that's by phone, whether that is by Google Hangouts, Skype, WebEx, etc., we don't care. We'll use the most appropriate medium. We will then conduct that meeting as if it's a real vendor. We will simulate it. We will use the context from the information we've received. And whether that's the real opportunity or whether that's a case study that we're applying to a particular industry type. Once we've done the meeting, we'll give structured feedback. We'll tie it in with the methodologies that they have been taught. Then what they're able to do is, having received that feedback, it gets recorded. They're also able to look back, reflect, and learn from it continuously. And not only them, but also their colleagues and their management can see what's going on.
Okay, I love it. So as a sales rep, I've organized an appointment with a real customer to simulate as close as possible the actual situation I'm going to go through with my own customer, and I'm getting feedback from you. Okay, you're not the same customer I'm going to meet, but you're as close as I can possibly get. It gives me feedback that enables me to really tailor my approach for that customer and guarantee, let's be honest, a better outcome from that interaction, right? So once we go through that, and once you give me that feedback, what about from a learning organization perspective? What sort of things could the Executive Simulator deliver in that regard?
Well, what we're looking to do here is it's tie back in with the learning and development professionals. What we're starting to see here is a far more agile approach to learning and development. We need personalised training. We need to be able to do it and consume it at a time that suits them. By doing this and linking back into whichever talent management system, whichever HR or learning and development system they're using, they're able to tie that back in. They've now got a personalised journey with real simulations that they're able to draw on continuously.
Okay, good. Good. I love it. Truly, it's something that can really help me to prepare for my customer interactions. However, I do have a concern, right? I wouldn't really want to do even a simulation with someone like you, Declan, without preparing. You know, that's just the way I am. I'd want to prepare. So what are the sort of things I could use to prepare for a simulation like that?
Well, I'm glad to hear you mention preparation, because if you fail to prepare, then prepare to fail.
Fair point.
It shows up every time. Well, what we've done, we've taken the key roles around the board, the executives, and we've taken the key challenges. We've also taken what our day looks like and what our KPIs look like. And we've packaged that into bite-sized videos that you can consume in advance of coming on and doing the simulation.
Okay, so as part of the service, not only do I get an opportunity to receive feedback from a real customer, but I get to prepare for that with some learning materials that I can really consume in any way I want.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So the Executive Simulator, all about helping me to be that bit more effective with my customer. Let's get straight into it and let's do it.
Absolutely. Practice makes permanent.
Fantastic.